Yo, champs in the making, it's your boy Starmeistr and Luap, aka the Pichu Bros, and welcome to another episode of Pokemon Chronicles review series. Today, we'll be reviewing episode 20, Trouble in Big Town. The episode originally aired on December 22nd, 2000 in Japan, and on October 14th, 2006 in the US. So, with all that out of the way, let's get started on the recap. Big Town is the capital of business, theater, fashion, and art. With its towering buildings, double-decker buses, it's one of the busiest towns out there. But there's another side of Big Town that is less busy, less fancy, and less famous. But that is actually where true enjoyment can be found, because here reside the Pichu Posse. It's another fun day of playtime for the Pichu Brothers. They start playing with their own wooden seesaw and summon the gang with their loud and cute voices. Smoochum, Magby, Wooper, and Teddiursa all hear the call and hop on the seesaw. But as soon as Teddiursa joins in, its weight causes a Wooper to fly and slide along a pipe. The slide was so fun that the entire posse also wanted to try it out. So, one by one, they queue in line, but Pichu Little wants to be the first and sneaks in front. So his big brother scolds him and tells him that he should probably fall in line at the back. As they're going back, Pichu Little accidentally slips and falls and gets angry at Pichu Big. Their fight starts heating up as Magby tries to stop them. And then Pichu Little pushes Magby off the pipe, maddening Magby, but good thing Wooper is able to stop Magby from firing off a flamethrower. The Pichu Brothers got to their breaking point that they both let out a thundershock, jolting everyone, including themselves. Both brothers faint, but Pichu Little slides down the pipe and onto a random skateboard and rolls away from the playground. Wooper, the only one who wasn't electrocuted, follows him with a very convenient roller skates, making their way across the dangerous roads with all the fast-moving cars. Fortunately, Azumarill notices them and propels them with water gun, barely avoiding getting hit by a truck. So now, Pichu Little wakes up from his unconsciousness and is still mad at his big brother. Speaking of Pichu Big, he begins worrying about his little brother and gathers the posse to look for him. Ooh, check this out, it's a Pichu Bros merchandise! We sell quality shirts, mugs, and hoodies for the cheapest price you'll find on the internet. And while you're at it, join our Pichu Bros Posse Discord server, the best place to talk about all things Pokemon. Anyways, Pichu Little and Wooper walk along the streets and find a bundle of balloons being sold by a man who's sleeping right now. Being the mischievous cutie that he is, Pichu Little unties the balloons but fails to realize that it's gonna make him fly into the sky. The posse starts their search for Pichu Little, asks Azumarill for directions, but Teddiursa is distracted by these nuts that he found along the way.
So now it's only Pichu Big, Smoochum, and Magby. For a second, Pichu Little flies above them, but when they turn around, they just see Murkrow instead. After a short while, Smoochum notices Pichu Little with the balloons, and a sudden gust of wind blows Pichu Little towards them. But he instead hits buckets of paints, causing it to spill everywhere, including this Houndour who's peacefully taking a nap. Of course, Houndour got super annoyed and chases the elemental trio around the town. That is until they reach the river and all together they fall into the water. The four of them are struggling to stay afloat, but luckily Feraligatr is there to save them. Fun fact, this is actually Feraligatr's debut in the Pokemon anime because this episode aired during the Johto Championship season. Feraligatr swims for a bit until he launches all of them away with its tail. The posse lands on a grassy area, but poor Houndour lands onto where Snorlax is resting, so yeah, he got squished. Pichu Little is still flying with the balloons and comes across a Murkrow who playfully pops all the balloons one by one. As Teddiursa stashes away his food, he hears Pichu's cry as he slowly descends after Murkrow pops almost all of the balloons. Teddiursa luckily finds Wooper, grabs it, and commands it to use Water Gun just in time for when Murkrow pops to find a balloon. This softens Pichu's landing, but it's only a matter of time until Wooper runs out of water, but everything turns out fine for the three of them. Pichu Little, Wooper, and Teddiursa head back home, but meeting there are Magby, Smoochum, and Pichu Big, and the Pichu Bros get into another argument. Magby calls to Azumarill to help them stop the fight between the brothers, but as soon as she arrives, she gets hit by their Thundershock. Azumarill is now fuming with anger and fires off multiple water guns everywhere. It eventually douses Smoochum's hair, and she's not happy with it at all, so she uses a bunch of powder snows, freezing the water guns fired by Azumarill. A debris of ice then falls onto Magby's head, angering him as well, and he also joins in on the fun by blasting his flamethrowers. It was a big mess for like a minute there until Azumarill, Smoochum, and Magby use up all of their energy. It is then that they realize that they accidentally created this fun and beautiful icy slide, and everyone is enamored by the sight of it. Like in the beginning, the posse fall in line, but Pichu Little again wants to be in front. Pichu Big again tells him to go with him in the back, and this time he listens and everyone is happy. The Pichu posse one by one slide their way down the ice, and we see one of the funnest closing scenes in any Pokemon episode ever. And now for our ratings and reviews.
Easily the cutest episode of the series, Trouble in Big Town was 20 minutes of non-stop fun adventure of adorable Pokemon. Gosh, I love this episode so much. The Pichu Brothers were the highlight of the episode, and their personalities and bond with one another were displayed very well. Pichu Big was amazing in how he was written to be a fun and playful character, but with a pinch of maturity, as he always teaches his little brother to do what is right and deeply cares for him. Pichu Little also had a great showing. He started out as being really stubborn and immature, but after a series of terrifying events, he learned to listen to his big brother and grew to be a better character at the end of the episode. Even the other members of the Pichu posse also received a good amount of screen time, showing Magby being brave, goody-goody, yet short-tempered, Smoochum always being fun to be around and concerned with her appearance, Teddiursa easily getting distracted by food but is quick-witted and alert, Wooper being clueless about everything yet being the most useful one, and Azumarill being the gentle mother figure but you would never want to mess with her. It's easy to reduce this episode down to being just fun and entertaining, but looking deeper, we can see that it did a great job at writing each of the main characters. On top of that, it's got some valuable lessons sprinkled around the episode that make it healthily watchable for kids in the early 2000s, even until today. Examples that I could think of are 1. Being stubborn and doing things brashly will only lead to trouble. 2. We should learn to listen to wise advice from someone older and more experienced. And 3. No matter how much we fight with our friends and siblings, we still love and care for them at the end of the day. Overall, I already know that I would let my future kids watch this episode. It's fun, well written, and has a lot of important life lessons that we can learn from. I'm giving this episode a 9 out of 10.
A super adorable episode that just melted away at my heart and made me honestly giggle at times. Having the first full episode of the Pokemon Chronicles series focused just on the Pichu Bros did not disappoint in the slightest. Not only were Pichu Big and Pichu Little amazing in this episode, the entire Pichu Bros posse were all fantastic. Pichu Big was an amazing big brother who was quick-witted and as responsible for Pichu Little as always. Pichu Little displayed his stubbornness, but that only pushed him into more and more great scenes. I think that the balloon scene was done really well, and also a nod to Flying Pikachu from Pokemon Yellow. Wooper was the MVP of this episode for me, being super clueless and just an all-around super derpy Pokemon. Almost every scene that Wooper was in made me honestly chuckle. Teddiursa also using Wooper as a literal water gun was great. Magby's quick-tempered nature was also shown off very well. Smoochum being the typical girly girl that she is, fixing her hair, it's always done so well. Finally, Azumarill is a lovable mother figure for the posse. This episode easily brought out the most smiles for me throughout this entire series, and honestly again just made me chuckle so many times. As you know, Starmeistr and I are known as the Pichu Bros, so I will say that perhaps our review of this episode might have been a little bit biased because of that. Now, one thing I didn't like about this episode is the whole scene with Pichu Little falling off of the balloons because of Murkrow. Like, the whole flow of events was just handled poorly in my opinion. And then there was that one random second clip of Feraligatr swimming from underneath that literally didn't add anything. That was just really weird to me. And the scene where the ice slides were being made honestly felt like it dragged on way too long. But with that being said, I'll be giving this episode a 9 out of 10. It was an extremely wholesome episode with just a few things keeping it away from being a perfect episode.
So yeah, that was a review and recap for episode 20 of Pokemon Chronicles, Trouble and Big Town. If you enjoyed this video, then I highly suggest you subscribe to both our channels. Links are found in the description below. For the second to the last episode of this review series, that will come out next week on Luap's channel, so you're gonna wanna head over to his channel to check that out. Or, if you want, you can click the playlist that we made and find all the episodes neatly there. Until next time, thanks for watching, and the Pichu Bros will gotta catch ya later.